record. Welcome, guys. Happy Sunday evening, 8 p.m. So, what are obviously, if you haven't logged on to one of these before, I actually quite like doing the Sunday ones because, we obviously look at what might happen this week. So, one thing that I think that's important in regards to trading is, like you would at school, you want to do your homework, so you're obviously understanding what days are going to have the biggest impact, why, what should I be, looking out for. It just gives you a bit of a head start. I don't trade, Sunday night Asia. I like to kind of, leave that open. Um, but obviously, I'd like to utilize it as I've got a bit of a head start on the week ahead because I wake up tomorrow morning. I've had the whole of Asia, run. It gives us a really good idea of what's going to happen and then how we can capitalize it on it. So that is not normally my plan. So let's obviously have a quick look through the economic calendar because we've got a few things going on. We've got a big week for lots of things. Have we got much? Yeah, we've got UK, we've got US. Yeah, it's a pretty heavy week for every single pair that we trade. I'm going to add something else in this week. So every evening, I'm going to break down three pairs, and then obviously I'll put those out throughout the day. After just to obviously help you to, understand how to break down stuff, how to, where potential trades might have been, and then obviously you can collect that data, and then hopefully it will help you, to obviously identify your own trades. So we trade obviously USD JPY, AD USD, Euro USD, GBP USD, and gold, and we have got activity on all of them. All right, so let's obviously start with Japan. We got GDP straight off the bat on Monday. Well, yeah, later on tonight we've also got. Have we got anything else Japanese? We got some obviously exports. We got some trade balance on Thursday, and then we got obviously inflation data Friday. So Friday could be a big one. Now, just to obviously give a bit of a background on Japan, we have got a bit of a, kind of intervention happening. All right. Now, this might potentially slow, all right, because, we have got, a pretty weak US dollar, but looking into probably Friday, and it might not happen this week, but obviously looking into Friday, that's going to give us some inflation data from Japan. All right. Now, if inflation is, still increasing, they don't normally, but they might be tempted to obviously increase their interest rates, which obviously doesn't happen often, but obviously, it's getting to that stage where they might have to just to kind of correct what is happening, especially with this war. It's not helped them at all. So, that's obviously going to be the big kind of talk on Friday. So, not obviously looking to buy the dollar against yen. I will be looking to kind of to sell it on these highs. So or lower highs. That is one thing, and let's go through it right now, so you obviously understand what is happening here. So let's see here. Great trade from us on Friday. I think that hit 40p. So yeah, what we're kind of looking at here, right, is any time it rises, we want to obviously take advantage of that kind of, move as and when it happens, probably on a 2 hourly, so, if we get this huge move here, it's worth them waiting. Remember, before any move, you get consolidation. It doesn't just go, price doesn't drop down here, go straight back up, and then come straight back down. Yeah. All right. You will always have whatever, pair you're trading. There's the kind of decision, making area. All right. Then we got the drop, we've obviously tailed up, decision making area, drop, tailed up, decision making area, drop, tail up. So I'm expecting Monday to probably do something like this, and then potentially Tuesday we might see this. But overall, you know, you can see yen is pretty much trapped in this area here. Yeah, right. You know, it's struggling to break back below, but then it's struggling to break above, you know. So I do think the, you know, safest bet for all like yen pairs at the moment, maybe not CAD yen, that's the only one I'd stay away from, would be to, you know, sell them. All right. Even like GBP, JPY, you know, maybe I'll break this one down tomorrow, coming into a little bit of support here. You know, might see this drift up, but then, you know, we're expecting these heavy kind of downside, you know, moves here. So, yen is one that we're going to be looking out for. So let's wait and see what happens here. All right. Next one I'm going to go through is Aussie. All right. Now, Aussie is one thing that you guys have to understand. And obviously, one thing that I recommend that everybody looks into is key trade partners. I've been through this, you know, 100 times. You know, China is a key trade partner with Australia. Now, the other obviously, you know, link that Aussie has, it's got to China and then gold, all right? Because obviously lots of gold is mined in Australia. If gold is pumping, normally it drags the price of Aussie up. Um, Now, obviously, we're going to be, you know, this is why I'll probably be staying away from Aussie this week because, you know, if we get a slightly weaker US dollar, you know, obviously gold at the moment, which we'll go through after, has got escalation, it's got a weak US dollar. It's kind of the only thing stopping it from pumping higher is probably 10-year yields. Once those, you know, start to drop, if they do drop, then obviously that's going to send gold higher. Everyone's going to be pricing escalation, and we'll also go through oil because this escalation that's potentially happening, you know, oil the price of oil isn't rising as rapidly as it was. And everyone's asking themselves why. And it's because, yes, everyone has got enough supply at the moment of oil that they don't have to worry. So I'm predicting, you know, oil, and let's just have a quick look at it now. And then we'll go back to China. Has to go for there to be worry, because I've read a few articles on it. It has to go up above this, you know, 90 area. All right, you know, everyone's pretty happy. You know, even though the Strait of Hormuz is closed, or you know, it isn't closed. It's just very very slow. You know, so but everyone's, you know, stocked up. They've paid the premium, so it's not affecting price as much as what it was. So China. All right, so. Because obviously Aussie is key trade partners with China, it's very, very important. Anyone who's, you know, we all maybe I'll do a video on trade partners because I don't think I've done one before. But obviously, you know, look into it. You know, if you've got your like trading desk, make sure you've got, you know, the notes of everything, you know. So, you know, if you're trading, you know, X, you want to know who their trade partners are. But obviously, Aussie and China are key. All right. So if Chinese data is bad, that is going to have an impact on Aussie. So you could potentially have a situation this week where gold is rising, you know, with a weaker dollar. So that's going to want to lift Aussie up. But then if Chinese data is bad, then obviously that's going to hold it. You know, it is, you know, it's like trying to climb a, you know, ladder with a couple of weights on your back. You know, it's going to hold you up, isn't it? So you know that's obviously, you know, one thing that's probably why I will stay away from Aussie this week. Obviously, yes, you know, if we get good Chinese data, we got gold pumping, we got a weak dollar, it flips the script completely, and we'll be wanting to trade Aussie. Let's just have a quick look at Aussie here. All right, and let's just clear this, and let's have a look at it on a daily. You know, you can see it's pretty kind of, you know, messy here. most obviously pairs are quite messy, but obviously that's one that I will be probably staying away from because I'm expecting some price action, like this, kind of sideways. And obviously we have been trading, sideways since probably the 7th of August. If we really think about it, we've been trading within this range. All right, so that's one that I'm going to be staying away from. We then got Euro and pound, which will do these together. So Euro, we got some speakers tomorrow. Lane speaking, not really that important. We've got obviously Lane speaking again. But obviously, unemployment rate for the pound expecting to tick lower. Now, this is interesting because obviously, US has had bad employment data, but their unemployment rate has ticked, lower. So, are we going to see that happening? In regards to the pound as well. But obviously, data generally from the pound is, starting to strengthen. We've then obviously got inflation data looking like it might be cooling, so there'll be less pressure on them to keep interest rates higher. Um, I think I read earlier as well that the US are at 15% chance of them obviously raising interest rates, so it's yeah, that's obviously why everything's being priced in. So we've obviously got potential calling data. I think pound is starting to strengthen. Oh, we do have unemployment rate for Aussie. That's on Thursday. We don't have any euro. We got a monetary policy, not going to do a lot, and then obviously we got some inflation for euro and pound, as well as retail sales on Friday. So pretty active as it stands. All right, if everything stays the way it is, then we just delete that, and there we go. Delete this one too. So as it stands, I'm going to be looking to. I actually prefer pound over euro, but obviously I will be, looking to buy uh, these, from a good place, depending on obviously how Asia acts. So we'll wait and see what happens here. Next one is the dollar. All right, so dollar's being hit pretty hard. Data this week to look out for. We got obviously some manufacturing data from New York. Might have a little bit of an impact, but not too much. On Tuesday, we got some housing. Housing's been pretty good, but obviously let's wait and see. Um, well, Wednesday, nothing really. FOMC meeting minutes, but that's all recorded anyway. We got jobs data, which is going to be important. That's on Thursday, and then Friday, PMI data little bit later on. So potentially might be looking to trade Friday afternoon after this happens. So potentially about 3 p.m. So let's wait and see. But overall, in regards to the dollar, I think for it to strengthen, it has to clear this. All right, we're going to be pretty much, negative the dollar until this comfortably clears. I'd like to see a daily close above. All right, I want to see a daily close above here. This 100 mark is pretty key. But obviously, it's still struggling to break through this 99,500, which we were a little bit early on Friday. We were probably about half an hour early. But obviously, this is yeah, we're just smushed in between these two. There's rejections from the top, support from the bottom. So, we're obviously going to have to keep an eye on this. It's going to swing one way or the other. And obviously, with the lack of data at the beginning of the week, you do see that continuation happening. We've got a real displacement here, in regards to if we look at how yields are trading, they're pretty high. Dollars obviously trading pretty, low here. And then we've obviously got oil um, trading high, as opposed to obviously dollar, trading low. So the kind of drive of obviously oil and yields aren't driving the dollar as much as they were at the beginning of this escalation, which is making things, slightly easier. All right. And then in regards to, stocks, equities, we've still got them trading pretty much at all-time highs. So it's interesting. There is some risk appetite out there. Companies are doing, pretty well off the back of it, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. Now, if escalation carries on happening, markets might price, um, yeah, price in escalation. How do we spot this? All right, yields need to be trading above here. All right. And oil, like I'd said, needs to be trading at, a 90. Now, everyone understands that escalation is happening, but the worry isn't there, So the worry isn't there, and but everyone understands. Now, if yields are trading above 4.75%, and if oil is trading above 90, that will drag the dollar up. All right, it has to, because yes, everyone's happy with the supplies that they have, but they're going to have to buy more at any time. And obviously, what are they buying these, supplies in? They're buying it in US dollars, So naturally, that should drag it up. But obviously, we don't want that to happen. But over the weekend, from obviously what I have read, is that basically, not a lot has been happening. It's pretty much, stagnant. And I think what ended up happening last week was Iran were very comfortable, very confident. Um, and obviously they were asking for, all these things to agree. And then obviously, the US have come straight back. Well, actually, we're in a comfortable position. We want this, and they are happy to kind of cut Iran off, whether that will, work or, not. But obviously they're happy to cut them off, so cut supplies in off. So whether obviously, I don't know, you're obviously reading one thing and then another thing is changing daily. But, all we can do really is look at what is being priced in, and so oil is one thing that we really, I hate to bang on about it. I've never looked at it as much as what I do at the moment, but it's the main driver. All right, it's the main, escalation or de-escalation driver. Now, if an agreement happens, I think what will end up happening is, yields will pop back down here, oil will pop back down here. But however, I do think that potentially the dollar, because it's already trading, low, I don't think it's gonna move crazy. So if anything, you know, everyone might kind of look at it that, right, what, this is over. They've had a good deal, which is clear that the US are not going to agree anything without having a deal that they are happy with. So potentially markets might see this as, right, what, that's a boost for the US, and yeah, we're going to treat that as good, data. All right. Now, last but not least, moving on to gold here, we had a great, well, two great trades here actually on Friday. Gold, right, daily time frame here. It's a little bit messy at the top. All right. Remember here, we have had a big drop. I think it's the first time in a long time we are. Where are we? Where was the 1st of January? Let's go zoom here. So the year opened up. Let's have a look here. There we go. Year. There we go. Right. So the year opened up here. All right. So we are trading just above the, yearly open. So gold must be point 0.000 whatever percent up. All right, but we've reached that kind of bottom, and where it opened on the, second of Jan, because obviously the first is a bank holiday, as you can see here, it's holding up, really, really well. So even if we did 428, all right, it's been holding up great here. All right, so is this gonna be that kind of floor, that we obviously have been before we start to see gold pump? Remember, historically, gold, has, yeah, it's pretty much always, finished the year on the high. We're coming back into obviously the last two quarters of the, year. Are we going to see gold back up at these highs? Who knows? Monthly it's been looking pretty good. Weekly had a really, really good week last week, engulfed all of this price action here. So are we going to see this trading higher? I'm expecting us to. We've got escalation. We've got a weak dollar. All we need for gold to pump higher is we need yields to drop back down here. All right. If yields drop, that is gonna, then kind of markets are shifting how they are trading this war, which would be very, very interesting. All right. Now, they might start doing what everyone normally does, where they're going to hedge, they're going to buy gold. All right. And so, as opposed to buying oil, buying, yields and buying the dollar, they might start hedging with gold. All right. Now, if we get some big boys in the game, then we should see gold start to, rise. So just be very, very careful trying to, short gold. You are always, I mean, I always say this to everyone, and I think during this time there was so many gold experts here. Everyone was a gold expert. This year they've kind of wiped themselves out, right? The amount of gold trader, XAU trader, XAU expert, commodities specialist, whatever. It wasn't hard. You just had to buy gold and hold it, all right? But obviously this year's been tricky, all right? So. But obviously, could we see gold start to, rise again? Could we see a bit of a change in how, markets are pricing, or trading this particular war? If we do carry on and see a bit of a weaker dollar, we have, yields start to drop, and we have war escalation. Expect gold to pump higher. So that's pretty much my roundup for tonight. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions? I'm happy to answer. So fire the questions in. I'll hold on because I haven't had any yet. Does anyone have any questions, or is everyone happy? Is everyone happy? Make sure if you haven't, drop the team a message, because you will be able to obviously get access to the macro tool. It's all up and running. Let's have a look at this month for now. I'm pretty happy with it. No red days yet. What were we last month? I think we did have a red day last month. Yeah, two. The last week of last month was tricky. So yeah. So all right, cool. Right. We've got a couple. Are we looking for dollar sales tomorrow from Alex? At the moment, yes. But like always, there's a reason why I don't trade. Sunday evening. Right, and it's because I've won. Years ago, I was the most impatient trader ever. Sunday evenings was like, I just wanted to trade. And even when I was telling myself, don't trade, don't trade, don't trade, I'd slam them on. So that's sort of obviously one thing that, yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. But as markets stand, yes. So yeah. Um, So let's have a look here. Michael, what influenced your gold trades? All right, that's because I did do two gold trades last on Friday. So let's just delete everything. Right. So what I marked up on Friday was I marked up the previous daily high and the previous daily low. Yeah. All right. Those were two. All right. Previous daily high, previous daily low. Like always, I always mark up Asian high. I mark up Asian high and I mark up, let's make sure, and I mark up Asian low. All right. Let's put those in a different color so everyone knows. So Asia is blue. All right. And previous day is yellow. All right. Now, there's a couple of things, and I'll explain the one that we took in the afternoon a bit later on. Now, I did say to everyone, all right, because we've obviously got the previous daily, low here. We woke up. This is all Asia, all right. That's why obviously Asian low bounced off of it, all right. Traveled up to this. The previous daily low. Now these levels are really, really key. Yeah. All right. But we had a break. We had a read test. So, all I did was explain, I'm going to be taking it up to the Asian high. All right. And that's exactly what happened. Scaled in, took it up to this Asian high. All right. Now, what would have changed my direction? All right, if we'd have had a candle here that had done something like this here. All right, so if I make this a little bit wider for arguments, sake here, if we'd have had a candle that had done, oh, let's do a really good line here. So if we'd have had a candle that had done something like this, something like that. I mean, that's an awful drawing, and I apologize. So let's put this in the middle of it actually. All right. So if we'd have had a candle that had done something like this, yeah. All right. Ignore that it's 10 and times as big. Then yeah, you gotta swallow it, close out, and then potentially look to short back down towards Asian low here. However, that didn't happen. We had a clean break. We had a clean read test. You could have entered wherever you wanted. We had a nice engulfing candle. You even had, second chance to enter here because obviously where support was, right? We've come back, retested that, rejected, smashed into this Asian high. Yeah. All right. So that was why I took this trade here. All right, you've got to with gold, you've got to be confident. You got to expect swings to happen. Now in the afternoon, all right, on top of what we'd already marked up, let me just get rid of this. I'll get rid of this, and I'll get rid of this, and I'll get rid of this. All right. I then marked up, all right, London. All right, so we're going to use London. We'll mark this in, I don't know, green, yeah? All right, so I mark London high and London low here. Right. One thing that it doesn't happen all the time, but it's a high probability. All right, you will not have three active trading sessions. All right, for gold. All right, so Asia was pretty active. All right, 530 pips. We then had London, which was also pretty active. Right, 680. Yeah. All right. So we are not going to have, chances are, we're not going to have an active, New York because we've had an active Asia and an even more active London. So that's why if we look here, New York is like 250 pips. Yeah. All right. So I mentioned to start to sell. All right. And I wanted to take it down here, but obviously. I entered in a few places. I think I had about three or four positions. Yeah, right. And yes, if this here had broken, then yeah, you got to swallow it, But obviously, chances happened. It started to kind of, move our way. It got a bit late on, and I don't want to hold my trades late on a Friday, but I was anticipating this, London high. Sorry, did this Asian high to be, re-tapped again. So that's obviously why I took them. And I'll start to mark these out because I'm going to do gold like this as opposed to doing the lower time frame. Could we have a short look at NZD USD? What are you expecting here, short term? Okay, one, I don't normally trade it 'cause it's very, very slow, and there's not really much data. All right, so let's obviously start this from scratch and have a bit of a look here. All right, so we've got an uptrend on the daily, but obviously you can also class we got a bit of consolidation here. All right, which we broken below, but then broken back above. So I'd probably mark my kind of levels because I don't trade this much or at all. I'd probably mark something like this. I might mark this one out here as well. Let's just have a little look on a weekly. So, I mean, it's messy, isn't it? Super messy. Let's just maybe raise this one up. Uh, Daily, that's a bit of no man's land here. So let's just leave this where it is here. Yeah. All right. It's rejected. So, yeah. So, right. What would I be looking at here? Um, A to tower, can see a nice, obviously, uptrend, but still a lot of breakthrough here. All right, we've got a bit to break through here. All right, so I'd probably be looking at it a bit differently because I don't trade it much. I'd be looking at these two areas here from what I can see at the moment. All right, one because if this breaks, we're going to want to short it potentially down into like one area could be this area here. And then obviously, next area might be, somewhere down here. All right, if we do it again, we might do somewhere down here. And then if we're going to buy, similar things here, we're going to want to look potentially at this high here. All right, keeping it nice and easy. All right, 4 hour, same thing here. This is our kind of, no man's land here. All right, it's not worth even trading here to me. All right. 2 hour wise, yep, still would stick to my plan. 30 minute, still would stick there. Look at this move here, horrible. So that's what I'd be kind of looking at here. I'll be looking for obviously this area to clear, all right, and that would be my ideal target. All right. But then also on the downside, I'd be looking for all of this price action to be engulfed, and then you might be looking at these, lows here. So those would be my two entries. Nothing else. So yeah. Right. If you have little time, explanation about CAD Swiss. What a horrible pair to trade right now. So this is one. I don't know if I've even got it on here. CAD Swiss. There we go. This is one that I'll be staying away from. All right. Swiss, mini kind of, safe haven, holds pretty strong. CAD at the moment, yes, looked to buy it. We've obviously got, if I mark up a level here, I like the look of this level here just because it lines up. You got another kind of, I'd call it an area of interest, which you might potentially want to target. And then obviously lows down here. You want to really kind of, simplify your trading. All right. So, so every pair, even if you're not that great at identifying the direction, everyone can do, something like this. But I would be waiting probably right now for CAD to come back and retest this area, see how it reacts, and then taking it higher. All right, seeing how it reacts, to this area here and then taking it a bit higher. That would be my kind of scenario here. Otherwise, you've got to wait for trend to break. We're in a nice little uptrend here. So potentially we might see something like this. Then it might come back and retest this area. But then you're not going to want to buy here because, oh, so sorry, sell here because there's a ton of support here. So you're going to want to wait for the next leg here to come back up and retest this area here. All right, this brick wall here, and that will be my entry here. All right, this one here, that will be my entry. All right, so if you really, really, simplify all of your charts and pick two, all right, I think everyone will do a lot better, in regards to obviously how they are trading because it just means that all of this here to me, no man's land. All right, use it, right? That's not where you want to be trading, right? Sorry, you want to be trading here, and then you want to be trading here. Here, if you want to take it to the upside, here, if you want to take it to the downside, yeah? All of this here, rubbish. Don't even worry. All right, just stops you from taking those really rubbishy, crappy trades. So right, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I'm going to end this here. Really, really appreciate obviously everyone turning up. Yeah, and make sure you guys drop me a message because yeah, I'm happy to obviously break down anything and obviously hopefully me breaking down more pairs will obviously help you to obviously spot things. But I 100% trial out. Even if you don't know which direction, pick your highest probability buy and pick your highest probability, to sell and class everything in the middle as, no man's land. All right. And then it's really gonna help because probably the more trades that you don't take, the better off you're going to be. So no, hopefully you've all enjoyed this. And yeah, I will catch up with you guys at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So let's go, team. Let's go. Have a good one.